Hello, dear students and viewers. We are once again here together in order to discuss the last chapter of Mohsen Hamid's novel, chapter 16. As it is visible on the screen, more it will be. But I am not finding any of my students right now responding in the comment section to let me know if they are there. Well, yes, it is somebody is there. Aman Zahra is there. That's good, and let's proceed to discuss the chapter. That is yes, it is somebody is there. Aman Zahra is there. That's good, and let's proceed to discuss the chapter. So, chapter 16. I make it full screen so you can have a good view of the chapter. First of all, it's going to be chapter 16, and the title of the chapter is The Wife and the Mother, Part 2. The Wife and the Mother, Part 2. As the title is indicating, so we can have a view that chapter will again be about Mumtaz. And as we have already read one chapter about Mumtaz, what she was saying, what she was doing, what her life was. So this is a repetition once again of the same character, but with a different view. So that is why it has been told as part 2, right? So here she will be talking not as Mumtaz Kashmiri, but she will be talking as Mumtaz, the wife and the mother. So let us enter into the chapter and see what other things can be there. The very first paragraph of the chapter is, "It's me again, Mumtaz, now commonly called the monster, sometimes even to my face," which makes my story, I suppose, a kind of monster story, with Daru among my victims. So this is the opening paragraph, and that opening paragraph has earned one title for Mumtaz, and that title is Monster, the Monster rather. The monster, you know very well, it's called in Urdu as Bala, that can eat up anybody without thinking, without knowing, without any planning, but its only job is destruction. And the same thing has happened here, because of which Mumtaz is naming herself the monster. The writer is giving this title to her because this is the thinking which the society would have about her, or this is the way the people would think about her. This is the way she will be considered. Or one can also say this is the way, as a woman, as a mother, as a wife, she is realizing at this moment what she has done and what she is doing. But before we proceed further, we must have a view a little bit of the chapters that we have skipped. I mean, 13, 14 chapter numbers. These were the chapters which are leading to a one angle of the end of the novel, and this chapter 16 gives us another end of the novel. But how does the end take place in those chapters? I think I have to remind all of my viewers and students that in the last chapters we have been reading that Daru had become jobless, first of all. Later on, he became the person who would like to sell the hash, and ultimately he was beaten up, first of all, insulted, first of all, by Uzi and his friends in a party. And later on, he was also, beaten up by the father of one person who, that person who was sold some drugs by Daru, ultimately was very much severely beaten. And because of all this, he had to stay at home for a very long time, and he had to bear these pains and the troubles which he was going on. And these pains and the troubles reflected on him that he is in a very poor condition. And in all this situation, Mumtaz continued to come to him in order to rest him, in order to comfort him, in order to spend time with him, in order to feel sorry for him. And meanwhile, his uncle, Fatih, and his grandmother, these two people also came there, and these people have been comforting him and trying to know what has happened to him, and to whom he said that he's met an accident. But the beating was so severe that he had to stay for a long time inside his room, and inside his room he has been practicing he has been practicing killing of the moths, not with the candle, but with the racket of badminton. This thing he did again and again, along with taking drugs also, along with spending time in certain different issues at home and thinking what he has to do when he doesn't have any money now and what he can do with this broken body. Ultimately, he decides to go to once again his friend, Murad Bacha. And with Murad Bacha, he makes a plan that they should loot and plunder with the help of the weapons. And so they one day go outside, make a lot of plans, and then they practice shooting as well. And ultimately, they are ready to go to loot and plunder one boutique. As it was planned, that Daru would hold the guard on gunpoint, and later on, there will be the looting done by Murad Bacha inside. He will get a lot of money from there. The same happens. Murad Bacha is able to get a lot of money, but still the problem occurs there. Daru is in under the influence of a lot of drugs, and that's why he tries to beat up everyone or kill everyone because he feels powerful because of the weapon which he was possessing and because of the money which was expected to come to him. And during all those days, he has been thinking why Mumtaz was not paying that attention to him, why she was not coming again and again, and why she was ready to say goodbye to him. Mumtaz's realization is a separate thing that we shall be discussing after some time. But first, we need to remind ourselves that Daru became much upset when Mumtaz said that all is over and she doesn't want to meet him anymore. And who was responsible for that? According to Daru, it could be Uzi, but he rejected this. But later on, he himself calculated that it is Muazzam, the boy, who, because of whom Mumtaz has decided not to come to him or to finish whole the kind of story which he was running with him. And as a result, he also has in his mind all the time that he should kill that Muazzam, the son of Mumtaz. And one day he makes an effort as well, but he is unable to kill him on the road while he was traveling in the Lancer, beautiful car. And later on, he, in that same boutique, imagines and finds out that it is Mumtaz's son, Muazzam, who was coming in between him and his looting and plundering. So he thought of shooting that boy, and he shots at that boy as well. And that way, the boy is killed. The story goes to end in that way as well. And the logical end of the other part of the story can be that then the police came and they arrested Daru and they arrested Murad Bacha, put him in the jail, and there the court is there, and in that court the trial is going on, and ultimately possibilities that the Daru is not hanged, he's relieved also, he comes out of that. So this was the another type of end of the story which happened in last chapters. But here in this chapter we have a different end of the story, that we are finding out here presence of Mumtaz once again. Possibly the writer wanted us to give some different ending of the story as well, a positive ending of the story as well. And here Mumtaz is declaring herself to be the monster. This goes to show that Mumtaz has realized something about her, that she is neither a good wife nor she is going to be a good mom, and ultimately she is thinking that she's not a good type of person, as a social person also not a good type of person, she realized ultimately. And it was the realization which became because of Mumtaz, and that is what is making her more and more upset. And as a result, she names herself as a monster, the monster. Let us see why she is naming herself the monster. What is the reason behind that? For this purpose, we need to go down into the chapter and see one paragraph here that is green in color. It says, even though I told him not to, Daru fell in love with me. Maybe love isn't the right term. He became obsessed with me. And I guess you could say that it was, at least in part, my fault. I stayed with him past the first warning signs. I don't know if that was wrong of me. All I know is that it made me feel good to take care of him. I was desperate to prove to myself that I wasn't a bad person, that I wasn't selfish and uncaring, that I could be giving and good, that it wasn't my fault. I didn't love my son. And then next paragraph is also there. That's when I realized Uzi knew about our affair. He had never said anything, didn't say anything even then, but something in his expression left no doubt in my mind. I felt sick, disgusted by what Daru had done, disgusted by my husband's glee, disgusted at myself for having the affair in the first place, for ending it so abruptly. I felt sorry for all of us. Now, this is the woman who now is feeling sorry for everybody. First of all, she's feeling sorry for her son Muazzam. Secondly, she's feeling sorry for Daru as well because he's trapped now. He is in love with her. He is fascinated and obsessed by her. And then it is Uzi, the husband, who is also cheated and frauded by her. That all is in her mind, and that is why she's becoming sad here and thinking in a different way. All said, and having all said that, one needs to see that this is the same Mumtaz who wanted to run away from Muslim, who wanted to run away from Uzi as well, who challenged Uzi and his family, who deliberately went to Daru, and she showed him this type of care and love, because of which Daru became entrapped with her, and now Daru is unable to live without her, and that is why she had to quit that thing as well. It goes to show one thing very dominantly, that Mumtaz did not want to stay in love with Daru at all. She was spending time. She was enjoying her time, or she wanted just to kill her time. She wanted to satisfy herself. Now, because of all that, she didn't want to call herself a bad wife. She didn't want to call herself a bad mother. And even she didn't want to call herself a bad lover. All these things came in forward, that taken one step taken by her has damaged everyone. I mean, Muslim may be thinking about her when he grows up, for example. He may be thinking that his mother didn't love him. So in that way, this was a painful thing for her. Uzi, who came to know about her affair with Daru, but still didn't say anything. Rather, he was smiling. Perhaps he was trying to prove, oh, you were such a woman. And in that way, this is also challenging for her, that she couldn't call herself to be a bad woman. So it is like Wife of Bath. It is like many other characters where people want that Belinda for example, Belinda of the story of the Rape of the Lock as well, in 18th century poem written by Pope. You see, every woman wanted to preserve her honor. She didn't want to show that she has been dishonored. And here also we find the same type of case, that Mumtaz, when feels that she has been dishonored, at that time she realizes everything and she turns herself a monster. I think this is a very difficult question to decide, whether Mumtaz is a monster, or Daru is a monster, or Uzi is a monster, or who is the person out of these three which has become monster supposedly in the eye of Muslim. Muslim was an innocent child who can think about all these people, that what injustice has been done to him, why all these things happened. That is why Mumtaz is taking the responsibility, and the reader can put the responsibility on Uzi as well, why he didn't take care of his wife, and then he can put responsibility on Daru as well, why he involved with a wife of his own friend, childhood friend. Was he taking a type of revenge, or was he satisfying himself, or was he taking a revenge from the society? All these are the big questions which are in the mind of every reader of Moth. And these are really very difficult questions which one cannot decide at all. But so far, this word monster is the view of the society for such a woman. And if a woman realizes that she's being considered in that way by whole of the society, her loving ones, her family, her people, at that time she is so much sad and upset, and that is why she will be ready to blame herself as well. And this is what is happening in this chapter as well. Let us go down and see more about this and try to seek the answers of the questions that we are trying to put here. For example, look at this paragraph. So one day I transferred half the money in our joint account to one I had opened for myself, took my jewelry out of the safe deposit box and packed 2 suitcases. I felt almost as determined as I had the day I told Uzi I would marry him, but when I told Uzi I was leaving. When I saw him register the shock and pain, then I felt sad too, for both of us and for Molson. Uzi didn't get angry. He was quiet for a long time, and when he spoke softly, he just said he would see to it that Daru wouldn't get out of prison for a long time. I didn't lie, didn't pretend I hadn't had an affair. I just said, "You killed the boy, didn't you?" Now, here is something where the balancing of the crime is being done here. For example, ultimately, when Mumtaz decides that she has to go outside, but not without getting money, without getting jewelry, without getting all the wealthy things with her. She showed the determination to Uzi that she's leaving him, and Uzi didn't stop her. He thought for some time, and ultimately he realized why Mumtaz was leaving him. It was perhaps Daru for whom she was leaving, and he said only one thing, that he will not allow Daru to come out of the jail, out of the prison for a long time. And this is what, again, troubles Mumtaz to think that all the blaming is being put to her. And then that moment she says that, "Didn't you kill the boy and put the blame on Daru? Were you not getting benefit out of Daru? Why then you are asking me such a thing?" So in this way, She tries to make him realize that he too was a type of criminal person. It was not possible for her to live with the criminal who, or the murderer who kills an innocent boy and puts the blame on Daru. That was the type of realization, the shock she wanted to give to her husband. But then it was the equality of crime on the part of the woman also and the man also. So therefore, no one was that responsible. But it was the case that Muslim was there. He needed the father, he needed the mom. But why these two people didn't behave in a proper way to become mother and father? Continue. Why did they continue to behave like teenagers, where such things keep on happening and nobody cares for that? But right now, it is Muslim. It is the son. It is the baby who has become important for both of them, and both of them are blaming each other for the kind of activity they had done. Now, this is the thing where Mumtaz is equally responsible for the crime or for the bad thing which has happened, and Uzi is also being made responsible. But on the other hand, if we try to go and see Daru is responsible, number of things are happening with Daru. Possibly, he was so much upset that he involved into that, or we can say society forced and compelled him. I mean, we are ready to give a token of forgiveness to Daru, but we cannot. As a reader, for example, we cannot be that sympathetic towards Uzi. We cannot be that sympathetic to Mumtaz that they should be given a free ticket, that they can do anything. So if they are blaming each other, it is right. Everybody should realize, everyone should realize the role being played in damaging the wives of the others, especially damaging the wife of the son, life of the sons, for example, or the daughters, for example, the young babies, for example. Everyone should realize the responsibility of that time. So that is why such passages are coming before us. Let's see more and go down into the passage. For example, here, if you see, I thought I would go home to Karachi, but I haven't. Some keeps me here. Something keeps me here. Zulf to maybe. My parents' complete inability to understand, a reluctance to run from where I have been. What I was, I think about Muslim more than anything else. I remember his long eyes, eyes that are neither mine nor Uzi's but his own. Uninherited original. He isn't a strong boy. He tires easily, cries more than most 3 years old, but he likes my voice, likes me to read to him. It puts him to sleep. Muslim called me Amma, and not softly but insistently, desperately, even when he was barely awake. I wonder if he always knew I would leave him. Maybe all children do. Maybe that's where nightmares come from. Nature telling them their parents will be gone one day. But I wonder if mine suspected his would leave sooner than she would. No, these are the passages which go to suggest that this is in fact the problem with Mumtaz, that at heart she's not a bad woman. And even if we may be allowing ourselves in giving this title to her, that she is not a good woman, at that time even we can see that some portion of the good mother is there. Because whenever she wanted to run away, two children, two babies came into her mind. One baby was her writing baby, or pieces of writing that was she was writing in the newspapers, in the magazines, the articles which she wrote. And she thinks that in order to do this job, in order to complete all this, she needs to stay in the same city, in the same situation where she's doing and taking care of that sort of Garmanto, the name she has chosen for herself in order to become a writer. And the second baby is definitely Muslim. And here is the very thing. She is the mother of Muslim. She thinks that Muslim may not accept this, that she is leaving him even before time, although she says that nature has taught all of the children of the human being that it is the law that parents will leave the children and children will stay there. And after that, they will become the parents, they will leave the world and their children will stay there. This is natural. But sometimes some parents leave early. And this is the thing troubles Mumtaz, and she says that whether Muslim was thinking in that way, that his mom will leave him. And she remembers the eyes especially, and says that Muslims got different eyes. For example, her eyes were not visible in Muslims' eyes, neither was the eyes of Uzi. And she says that he's got the original eyes. For example, look at the lines here in the second passage, that boy had different types of eyes, and these eyes didn't resemble with the eyes of these two. It means that these two were looking at the world in a different way. Uzi was different, looking at the world with his own eyes, and the mother was looking at the world with her own eyes. But Muslim, when he will grow up, He will see all these things, he will observe all these things, and then definitely he will not see and look the world with the eyes either of Mumtaz or that of Uzi. He will have his own looks on the world. So that's the kind of brought up of the child, which plays a very important role with the passage of time, how a child is brought up. If the child is brought up without the attention of the mom, these are the things which can happen, and these are the things which can come into the minds of the mothers as it is coming in the mind of this mother who is Mumtaz, and that is what is stopping her from leaving the place from where she wanted to run away. No, this is a big question here. If she wants to run away, why she doesn't become the wife to Daru? But she says no, she will not do that. And again, if she wants to leave Uzi, why she doesn't? The answer is there: for the sake of Mantu, for the sake of Muazzam, she doesn't want to go. And even if we think why she does not marry Daru, it is Muazzam again that she says she cannot do this. She cannot make Muazzam live in such a situation where her mom is counted as a bad woman and where his father's friend marries his mom. These things are the important things for her, and that's why it stops. So it means that even the elite class or the rich class are not that free to exercise their will. They're also bound with certain restrictions of the society, certain feelings of the society, certain psychological issues. They're also restricted, and they do have to bear the same life which is designed by nature for them, and they have to continue with that. Whatever the results may be, they have to continue, they have to feel it. And I think a number of people in this world are living in that way. Probably they didn't want to live the type of life they are living. Same is happening with Mumtaz, but the realization has become so strongly towards Mumtaz that she calls herself a monster here. Let's still go down and see what other things can happen. This is again the thing about Zulfikar Manto. Let's leave it. And here is Manusi once again. Manusi has been a big help tracking down witnesses. When I left Uzi, he left with me. I have discovered he's a brilliant investigator. I might make a journalist out of him once I have taught him how to read properly. I doubt the article will do much good, but at last Daru will have some defenders, which is more than I have. But I am finding I can live with myself, which shocks me more than anything. Maybe I'm a monster after all. So that's the closing passages of the novel. And we are reminded once again that Mumtaz is now with no one. At this moment, she is not with Uzi. It is only Manusi who has given company to her, who has come to her, and they are writing an article. The article is about who killed that boy, and because of which Daru is in the jail. And this is something which she is doing. Now, one can put a question: is she in love with Daru still and she wants the freedom of Daru? Or she is trying to take revenge from all the society, from Uzi as well? Because in that way, if this article proves right, if the things go right, if the judgment goes right, Uzi will be arrested definitely. And why she's doing all that? But still, she says that she wants that somebody should defend this person Daru who's inside the jail. Maybe sometime he may be given some type of freedom, but it's not possible right now. She's making certain efforts, and in that way, giving us a message that a woman can stay alone. She can stay alone and she can write. She can become a professional person, or she can do certain things with the help of which she can make the society better. And in that way, the crime which was hidden, the crime of Uzi which was hidden, that he had killed the boy with his Pajero, and it was the Suzuki which was blamed to kill, and Suzuki didn't do that. And Suzuki belonged to Daru, and Pajero belonged to Uzi. And so in that way, she is trying to defend Daru even at the certain last moments as well. So one can say that she is trying to balance each and everything by seeing, first of all, that she is the mother which is monster, and that is why she does not deserve to live with the love of the son, and that's why she is living alone. And she needed the help of a man, help of the society, and Manusi is there. Definitely, these are the two men who none of them or neither of them was worthy enough for her to live with. For example, Uzi was a murderer, and Daru was also a killer, a looter, a plunderer. But she still had a type of feeling of satisfaction for Daru. So she has decided not to live with any of these. It is Manusi only she is living with, and she is also getting help from Manusi, and Manusi is tracing out certain things as the evidences, or he is making an investigation, and ultimately it is possible to write an article why Daru is arrested and what is the reason behind that. So in this way, the novel closes with these comments. For example, we have certain post-script comments as well, which are going down, and some of the comments of the story of Aurangzeb Alamgir are also there. But this is not important. Students can read themselves about that. But my concern was here to make us understand how does the novel end in two ways. One way is that Daru goes into the jail once again, in the accusation that he has looted one boutique and he has also killed one child. On the other hand, he is in the jail. As the story had started, for example, if the students remember, the story had started in the jail where Daru was given some white packet and he was taken to the court as well. And now the end of the story is same one. It means that in between institutions, in between occasions, or different examples have been given, or different stories have been told to us that why Daru was there, what is the reason behind that, who was Mumtaz, where from she came in the life of Mumtaz, and what was the background that Daru and Uzi were so fast friends, and what was the reason that Daru tried to defend Uzi, tried to save him, what was the reason behind that when he killed one boy with his Pajero on the road, and why then Daru became such a person so lovely to this woman that she made an article, wrote an article, and made the freedom of Daru possible. So this is all the triangle that we are witnessing. Mozam also come in between as a baby character who holds everything on his part and tries to make the people realize. Perhaps I must say that children are the very people who are innocent. They have their own eyes to look at the world, and that is why we want to provide them the best possible world. And so the crime, the bad things, the affairs, everything has to end when the baby is there. Mumtaz possibly took this type of decision also, that she should not stay in company with Uzi or in company with Daru. She should change herself and to continue to work in order to do good things for the society. That is by writing articles and exposing some of the crimes. So in that way, I think the reader is ready and willing perhaps to give a chit of forgiveness to Mumtaz as well. If we can forgive Daru, for example, that he, even after doing everything, he is the victim of society, one can also say that Mumtaz is also, in one way or the other, victim of the whole society. Victim of her own upbringing, one can say, victim of her own psychology, whatever the case may be. She also had a life and she wanted to have a life, but that life partner didn't fulfill the type of requirements she had. And as a result of freedom, as a result of money, as a result of the power she enjoyed, she tried to do the life in her own way and she didn't succeed in that way. Possibly as an individual, she's a success, but as a social setup being, she's not a success, she's a failure, and she's a monster. Same is the case with Uzi, that for the sake of his progress, he didn't pay attention to his wife, he didn't pay attention to his friend, and didn't pay attention even to the affair which was going on, rather tried to exploit Mumtaz, that in one way or the other she should live with him. He possibly didn't have the courage, or he was using the social tools in order to gain as much as progress as possible. Possibly it happens in the upper arenas of power, possibly. One cannot say what is the reality, but still, the social structure is being highlighted in that way, that these things are going on. So in that way, Moth Smoke ends very tragically. One can say the characters are there, the world is there, but still some of the characters are mentally and physically damaged, and some of the characters are criminals at this moment, and some of the characters are left alone even after having so much money at their disposal. And one very young character, that is Mosam, it is also at the brink of new life which he's going to start, but that life will make him realize that what type of person his father was, what type of his uncle, his father's friend was, and what type of mother he had. All these things will be in his mind, and nobody will be able to see directly into the eyes of Mosam. And the other end, if we wanted to have the other end of the story, Mosam would be killed, and it will be possible for Mumtaz to get freedom from Uzi and go into the hands of Daru. It would be possible, definitely. But the writer gave us another end. Possibly that could be that. But this end goes to suggest that it was really an end which is really not only beautiful end, but also the end which the story required. The end has happened in that way that nothing has ended actually. Everything is going on. But one story has closed, which is the story of a moth, and that is the story of a candle. and this moth and candle continue to reverse their roles or change their roles or interchange their roles as well in the society. Sometimes the moth becomes the candle, and sometimes the candle becomes the moth. These things continue to happen in the society, continue to happen in the story as well. So this is the true reflection of Pakistani society. It's a true reflection of our behaviors. It is the true reflection of the powerful women. It is the true reflection of the powerful men as well. It is the reflection of those young men who are, forced by the society to adopt a particular behavior as Daru has adopted. It is the reflection of such children as well who are born to such people as Uzi and Mumtaz are, and they have to live their life in their own way. Everything has been discussed in detail by that. It is the reflection of those, criminal minded people as Murad Badshah is there, who living in the small strata of life think of becoming rich in this world. And the only way, according to them, is not the honest way, is not the hardworking way. The way to become rich, according to them, is to loot and plunder someone. Possibly the show of wealth made by some people in the elite class, as the boutique was suggesting to Murad Badshah, that tempts them that they too can become like that. But the writer has concluded the things that if you try to follow this type of path, there is death and destruction. There is no money at all. Sometimes it may succeed, but mostly it may fail. So that's a type of moralization also, which the writer is trying to put to us, to the reader as well. So it's all up to the reader. All Mohsin Hamid's novels are like that. He leaves the end in such a way that that the reader has to decide what the next thing will be, or why the writer has done so. It is all up to us how we decide so. So this is all about today's lecture as well. Now, let us have a little bit talk about these kind of topics we should be preparing out of this novel. I think all of you might have realized that it's very much essential that we should prepare Mumtaz's character. That should be the first ever assignment to be set on this novel. First one is Mumtaz's character. The second thing you should prepare is the title, Moth Smoke, why the novel has this type of title. And then Daru as a protagonist, this title should also be prepared. So three titles are there. One is the title, other is Mumtaz, and the next title is going to be Daru or Dara Shizad. We also have another title of the story, that Moth Smoke is the true reflection of Pakistani society. This is the four topics that the students should prepare. And I would advise everyone to collect material and to prepare this as assignment. Divide the class into four groups. One group may take one assignment and write it down, but the assignment should not be copied from here and there. It should be written in their own pen, and examples, references, evidences of the claims should be added from the text that we have read. We have read sufficient text, and that is sufficient to have a lot of quotes from that as well and make a point of view as well. These four topics may be prepared by the class and submitted to me for checking. Hopefully, when we come back to our classes in the month of June, we will face immediate examinations. And in order to avoid any problematic situation or haphazard situation of that time in the June, we may be ready with the preparation of these assignments as well. Next time, my lecture would be on some other third novel, which is also included in our syllabus. I'm doing all that possibly in the month of June. We may not find that much time. So that is why it's essential to pay attention to these lectures and to listen and watch them repeatedly in order to get a point of view, what has happened, what can possibly be discussed, what is possibly critical thing here. So in that way, we are reaching quite close to that. So this is the whole story of the Moth Smoke. Possibly, I don't know about my students and viewers, but when I teach all this, the end of the story makes me sad. Sad because such things keep on happening even today. In my long age of 54 years now, I have spent at least 30 years as a kind of, grown up person and facing the world and looking at the world. I have seen these things frequently happening all around me. The people become sad as well. And when I read it, I once again remind myself all those situations in which number of peoples became sad. Though I try to help the people to become good and happy in their life, but still these things are going on as the things are going on in this novel. These things need to be prevented. It can be prevented only when somebody has very strong morals, and these morals are the only thing which can save us. But it's a lot of humanity. We have been doing the same things in the past time, and we will be doing these things as well. So with these comments, I will be stopping here. I hope now I have a new way of asking and answering and discussing of the questions. I shall not be answering any questions here to Maya or to anyone who has put the question here. I want you people to put these questions and your comments on the Facebook page, my Facebook page, where I always put the link of this YouTube lecture. There you can put the questions. I will also answer these questions, or any of the students who has watched this lecture, he may also try to answer the same questions there. So it means that the discussion forum should be Facebook. Discussion forum should not be this YouTube. Well, but I will advise everyone that on the Facebook, do not give any type of comment which is harsh, which is injurious or hurting to someone. And I will advise everyone that if someone is responding to the questions of the students, may not be putting such harsh and hurting comments. It should be gentlemanly way on the Facebook as well. Let's prove that we can be very gentle and good students on Facebook as well. And I'm expecting just after 30 minutes that you can put your questions there, you can put your comments there. And if any one of the students knows the answers of the questions put there, maybe answering so that everybody reads the answer there. So that would lend an extra color to our effort that we have made during this corona virus holidays or the vacations. That would lend an extra color. So with these suggestions, I hope that we have done a lot and more we shall be doing. This is the time to say you people goodbye. And I will be looking of question of Umayya. And Umayya, this is my promise that I shall be answering your question myself if you will put there. Okay. So think very well about your question, add some details to it, and I will answer that. Okay, that's it from me for this day. Hope to see you again. And again, since next video will be about some other novel of our course, and I will be asking you people also to send me messages, which is the novel that we should be starting. I think this is third novel, the last novel that we shall be talking about. Okay, so that's it from me for this day. Hopefully seeing you in some next video. I think you people have enjoyed it. Do not fail to click the subscribe button or ask your friends to click the subscribe button, because it's the only way which increases the interest of this channel. So keep on doing that. Hopefully many people have done. Right now we are at 700 subscribers. It needs to go to 1000. So everybody continue to make the efforts. I will suggest to you some plan about this as well. So thank you all. Saying you, the time has come to say you goodbye.